Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Would you like even more content? Here's my Patreon. Now onto the stories. Case file number 1269, written by Heather Lore 76, The Mysterious Woman of Destiny. Maybe around age 14, early 90s, we were traveling from Texas up to Tacoma, Washington. We were about out of money, almost out of gas, no food, stuck in Chico, California. I sat in the car while Mom took my younger sisters to the restroom at a gas station. I was riddled with anxiety about our situation and looking down. The car door opened and I looked up. A lady that looked like a brown-haired Brady mom sat in the seat and faced me. She said, "It seems like you're down on your luck. Take this and give it to your mom. Tell her to pay it forward someday to someone who needs it." I looked down into my hand and there was a $100 bill. I looked up and she had disappeared. Nowhere in the parking lot, just vanished. I cried. When Mom came back, I told her what had happened and she cried. We got gas. There was a guy selling oranges on the side of the road, and we bought a bag and went to a local park that had a part of the river with a little spillway dam and went swimming and ate oranges for a couple of hours before getting back on the road. I never saw that lady again, but she saved us, and we did make it up to Tacoma to start our new life. Thank you, stranger lady with invisible powers. We never forgot your kindness. Case answer file 1269. The Mysterious Woman of Destiny. That's it. Maybe that's what an angel is. Not purely guardians, more than that, actively pushing back, fighting against the darkness and evil with the world, not through sword and spear of destiny, no, but by attuning our own energy to the straight and narrow, paying it forward. This is the key, converting us humans into warriors, but not through fighting, but just by being good people, better people. It's something I love to consider doing one day if I ever can. I think about Mr. Beast often. How much he helps people. It's amazing. The only thing I'd change is asking people to pay that same generosity back to someone in their life who's in need. Now, obviously, most people couldn't pay it back in the same way, just giving out houses and stuff. You can't really do that, even if you have a house gifted to you, but you can still pay it forward in smaller chunks. I think many people probably do that receive generosity without even being reminded. But that little note of request can tip the scales in the holistic, macro-level sense. We can be our own angels. That's a beautiful thought. Case file number 1270, written by Throwaway 2021 ABC. How a chance meeting pulled me back from the edge. A few years ago, I was at my lowest point in life. Several people close to me had passed away unexpectedly. I was being bullied every day at my job. My life was falling apart. I was past being depressed. I just couldn't imagine waking up another day. So, I'd planned the end of my journey, bought a one-way plane ticket, got sleeping pills, and wrote a series of notes for loved ones to read after. On the day I was to fly out to fulfill my plan, there was a terrible accident on the freeway to the airport. It was shut down both ways. So, I drove into a nearby pub to have a beer and wait out the traffic. The second I sat on the patio with my drink, a gentleman asked if he could sit with me. Whatever, I thought, sure, who cares? He told me that whatever I was doing next was a terrible idea and I would regret it. I thought, who is this random tosser? But I listened. He said that he sensed I was in pain, but that I had an incredible life ahead of me, and that this was not the way my story was supposed to end. Again, I'd never met this guy in my life, and hadn't mentioned a word to him about my plan. He asked me to hand him my keys and my wallet, and he'd give them back to me after I talked, and he listened. I poured my heart out to this random guy. I told him all my traumas and pains in life, and why I was heading to the airport on a one-way ticket to end my journey in a cemetery across the country where my family was buried. He just listened. And then he pulled out a lighter, asked me to pull out my letters and help me burn them. He told me I was worth so much to the world and that after I finished my drink, I needed to head home and get some sleep. He told me I was going to be okay tomorrow, and I believed him. He then gave me my keys and wallet back. I left that afternoon and went home, hugged my family, got some sleep, and the next day I started working on myself, finding a therapist, a new job. Years later, I'm in a fantastic place in life, so far from where I was that day. To this day, no one in my life knows how close I came to the final step. But this random stranger just somehow understood me and saved my life. I never saw him again. I don't even know his name. It's the most unexplained thing that has ever happened to me. And I think about that guy every day. So thank you, kind stranger, for saving my life that random September day on a pub patio. Case file number 1270. How a chance meeting pulled me back from the edge. This is one of the stories that after reading, you just have to sit back, take a breath, and simply let it infiltrate your soul. You have to let it in every aspect. At first, I was considering the possibility that this was an everyday, true and proper human being who just happened to have the ability to read people's emotions. Empaths, they're called. But this goes beyond that. If it was a flesh and blood human, he had abilities beyond high empathy. He knew what your plan was specifically. Now, while I do believe such humans exist, I think the coincidence of that accident occurring on the freeway, which diverted you away, points towards this being a guardian angel event. In fact, my gut says that accident was fictitious. Or maybe a low-level event where no one was actually harmed, but enough to cause traffic. Wonder if you saw the accident yourself, or if you heard about it on your phone or radio. If it even happened is a question in my mind. Your guardian needed you off the road and in a place he could appear to manifest that wouldn't freak you out. I mean, think about it. If he just appeared in your car right next to you while driving, well, maybe you would have swerved and killed yourself accidentally in that case. That's not what he wanted. And even if you didn't, even if you heeded his advice, you may think you're nuts. And what happens to your family? Which is where this swirls back to. If you have people who love you, depend on you, then ending the journey, in my opinion, is just wrong. We all have autonomy over our own bodies. But if we choose to forge close bonds with others, then we kind of infuse our body and soul into them, at least small portions of it. What we do with our body then affects them too, so always consider that. And don't think of it as an anchor. Think of it as a light to persevere against the darkness and challenges of the world. People you love and care about, they're not trapping you on this mortal plane, they're making it worth living. Bonus file written by Farbunny. Somehow I knew exactly where my dog was trapped. We had a rescue dog years back, a terrier mix. We lived in the countryside on a wooded hillside and owned about 5 acres of woodland and rough fields, mostly wild. This dog loved to be up there chasing rabbits, but loved her home too, so would never be gone for very long. One day, she went missing. We took our other dogs up there and searched thoroughly, but nothing. We had another friend bring his dogs, nothing. We advertised, put up posters. We did little but search high and low for 6 days, but found nothing. On the 6th day, we had pretty much given up hope, but I decided to go up one last time because I had a hunch, a tickle in my belly, about one particular area which had already been thoroughly searched. I took a sickle and a pair of gardening gloves and hacked my way towards the center of a huge bramble patch. It was summer and all I could hear was birdsong and insects, but suddenly I heard a muffled yip. I called her name and then heard her again, getting excited. She was deep underground in a rabbit warren. I stayed, calling to her, until help arrived. The local fire brigade were kind enough to come and help, and we got her out eventually. She ran around like a demented muddy pup, and amazingly the vet said she was basically okay, and had probably been getting enough moisture from eating mud to keep her alive. I am not generally a fanciful person, but I just knew in my knower she was there. No explanation for it. Case notes of the bonus file. Somehow, I knew exactly where my dog was trapped. The sixth sense, but really it's beyond just a sense, isn't it? It's knowledge woven into your soul, or maybe drawn in is the better expression. You listen to your gut, the tickle in your belly as you call it, I like that. Even though there was absolutely no evidence in the material world to direct you to that specific area, you literally already searched it thoroughly, as you say. It wasn't a gamble or a dice roll. You knew it. Your soul connected to a loved one, and yes, pets certainly fall under that category. Fed as much knowledge to your subconscious as it could to lead you where you needed to be. It was just a feeling, but you knew. Just horrible to consider, though, the suffering, having to survive on mud for 6 days. Thank God you found her. And now time for the quote of the day. The greatest pleasure in life is doing what people say you cannot do. Walter Bagehot. So what is this quote referring to? Is it doing things you aren't supposed to be doing? Or is it doing things that people think you can't do? I think it's the latter. If someone or a lot of people believe that you can't do something and you prove them wrong, there's almost a carnal pleasure in that, of defiance and just saying, told you so, I can do it, you didn't believe in me. It's also a way to weed out people that really don't belong in your life anyways. If you're a friend, a good friend will give advice and critique. If someone has a plan, one of their friends has a plan, and it's kind of crazy, well, I don't think you should talk them out of it. You should give them your opinion and advice, kind of like a co-pilot. Get a lay of the land. If there's a storm ahead, tell them about it, the challenges they may face. But if they decide to go and attempt it, then support them. Don't put them down because it's something that seems crazy to you. Maybe it is. Maybe they'll fail. Probably most of the time they will. That's just how life goes. But you have to be there to support them. It's a tough line to balance, but I think enough people get it right. But it's something to consider, If you have a friend trying to do something, launching a business or going on a trip or something, unless it's absolutely crazy, like going on vacation in Sudan or something, maybe then talk them out of it. But generally speaking, be there and support your friends. That's what a good friend is. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.